Hello, YouTube fans and Facebook Live fans of DX Engineering. It's Friday afternoon here in the Eastern time zone of the USA. It's time for the weekend special. I'm Tim K3LR, and along with me today is a very special guest. It's David, NA2AA. David is the new CEO at the ARRL. Welcome, David.
Thank you.
And great to have you. And I love the backdrop and everything. How are things going up at headquarters?
You know, all things considered, things are going great. You know, the league is a relatively small company. We've got about 87 people that work here. COVID-19 hit the metro New York area up into Connecticut pretty hard. And the league employees have responded. You know, we've figured out ways to be able to work remotely, whether it's having meetings or supporting the members. You know, our warehouse guys, like, you know, there's no remote working in a warehouse. You got to show up and ship the product. So our warehouse guys are here. My management team is all here. You know, we're just sort of managing through this. We miss our members. We miss them coming and taking the headquarters tour and operating from W1AW. They bring an energy and they bring life to the environment. So we're looking forward to things getting a little more normal and we can get our members back.
Yeah, that's going to be really good, and the signs are that's going to happen sometime soon as the vaccine gets rolled out. And so Joe is your station manager over there, Joe Garcia. And hopefully he's just shining up the place. You know, radio's ready.
I have to tell you, I hadn't been here very long, and I'm going through and I'm meeting everybody. And then I said to our head of HR, "Is Joe over there all by himself?" She said, "Yeah, since March." I was like, "Has anybody checked? Is he being fed?" So, I went over and thanked him for everything that he does. And he does. He keeps the station on the air. You know, the bulletins are going, the code practice is going. He's been a great steward in terms of the towers and antennas and everything else. So, yeah, it's all good.
Yeah. Now, so David, we're going to start interacting here with the audience. We're on here today with David, NA2AA, the new CEO of the ARRL. And if you have a question for David, just put it over in the chat room. David, let's talk a little bit about your vision for headquarters and the operations up there.
So, in my running to become CEO, the platform that I ran on was digital transformation of the league. Folks have been critical of the league moving slowly. And when you're a publisher and you've got, publishing deadlines, you tend to get into a business cadence of following those deadlines. And for things to take a long time, when I say a long time, meaning a matter of weeks, not a matter of hours, it's the way that you run a business. Well, we just sat here and counted down the seconds to click online, and bang, at 4 o'clock we're online. That's the way of the world, and the league needs to respond. So we've moved a good bit of our technology into the cloud. We have a new membership management system that's going to be coming online in 2021. We've built a learning center that's absolutely fantastic. I said building this learning center is like building a library that's got one shelf of books. So we're making sure that when we launch, we've got a really fabulous assortment of content. And so under that digital transformation, we're spending a lot of time focusing on managing content that exists. We have literally decades of fantastic content to draw on. And now we're moving into the video realm to be able to essentially utilize our YouTube channel and our learning network, where basically you can come in and experience podcasts, webinars, or courses that are actually delivered as video courses with testing and certification associated with it. So there's some really exciting things. The other thing is that, my background is computer engineering. So a lot of what I'm looking at now is how do I get folks here excited about automation in the shack? So one of the things that we're doing is we're taking our headquarters station, W1HQ, we're completely reimagining it as an extension to the lab. And we've constructed a group that we call Team Energy. And these guys are all experts in using an IBM development tool called Node-RED. And we're going to be using Node-RED to treat all of the gadgets that are behind you that don't generate watts, and treat it as like an Internet of Things in the shack, and use these Raspberry Pis to support this distributed Internet of Things in the shack. And it's just really exciting stuff.
No, that's just going to be amazing, David. And I hope through blogs and through internet postings and so forth, you keep everybody updated on that, because I think that sounds like an exciting project. And of course, we want to say hello to Jamie Lee. She's on today, and Greg Vatt, one of our bloggers for On All Bands, NC7B. And also nice to have greetings from the ARRL headquarters and W1AW.
That's Bob.
Thank you, Bob, in Q1R. And Merry Christmas to you, Bob. And our friend Rob, Mike 0 Kilo Papa Delta stroke Mobile. One of these times, David, I got to send you the photo of Rob's mobile setup. I talk to him just about every night on 40 meters. And, it's like 3:30 in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, and he's driving down, going to London to go to work, and he is booming loud. Great guy, Rob. Thanks for being on. And Glenn, KE8 November Golf Victor, and Jeff, KB8SXK. Jeff sent me a nice email about how DX Engineering is like a crack dealer. It's exactly what he said. I can't make this stuff up, David. He says that he spent way too much money, and all these shows are doing is constantly beating into him that he needs more stuff. And so he's got to go into rehab now, he said.
Well, it's all your fault. He can order up till 10 o'clock and probably get it the next afternoon and be on the air with his new toy.
That's it. And we got Larry from sunny California, K6 Radio Oscar. And also from Tucson, Arizona, it's November Lima 7 Delta. And Dino is on with us, another one of our bloggers. And from those of us who have material appearing in QST and on the air, please give Becky, W1BXY, a big pat on the back for how she works with authors. And that is great feedback, David. You've got so many superstar employees up there that are doing great work, and they love ham radio, and they're taking good care of the members. That is so great. We've got November 6th, November Radio Oscar on. And Jim Smallwood, N7RCS, says, I like the direction the ARRL is moving. Keep up the good work. And we've got Larry, K5OT, and Larry is a good friend of mine. And he says, I love this ham radio stuff.
Oh, yeah, we do.
K4 Yankee Juliet is on with us. And Victor Echo 2 Hotel Echo Whiskey is on, and we are doing well. And John Kershaw, he says he's a proud ARRL member.
And proud to have you on the team.
Yeah, and Jimmy Cessna, he says, crack dealer, very true. I saw Jimmy this morning, and he lent me an amplifier so I can try out some 3500Zs. We got Whiskey 1 Quebec Papa and Kilo Delta 8 Radio Charlie India. And our cat in the hat, Joe, K0NEB from Nebraska, also a contributing author to the ARRL Handbook. And thanks very much for doing that, Joe. I know, David, that handbook is just amazing. What Ward does to pull everybody together.
Well, I can tell you that we have very, very big plans for the 100th anniversary of the handbook. And it's going to become if you already have one, you're going to want this. If you don't have one, you're going to need this. And guys that have real fancy stations are going to want to feature this right on their bookshelf, because we're really going to reach for the stars with this 2023 edition.
Oh, that sounds great. We're on here today with David, NA2AA, the new CEO of the ARRL. And our friend Dr. John says, many thanks for keeping the ship moving ahead for the entire ham radio community. The future is as bright as the past. And that's 73 from Kilo Bravo 3 Hotel. So John, thanks very much for your comments. And Bob, WD8NVN, who is an ARRL member, and he's looking for inside information. When I'm sure that will happen soon, that there'll be a new Ohio section manager appointed here, as the section manager is now your vice director for Great Lakes.
Yep.
So congratulations to Scott Yonley there. And Kilo Echo 5 Quebec Kilo Radio, join the ARRL. Yes, absolutely. And very proud of my my life membership in the ARRL up there. Been a member now for 48 years. And geez, I don't look that old, do I?
Time flies when you're having fun, right?
And we are having fun, David. I know you like to get on the air. I know you like to have QSL cards. And I mean, you're old school at this, but you know, you're also on the cutting edge when you're doing what you're doing with the lab station and some of the other things up there, I know. And so our friend Harry, Whiskey 3 Yankee Juliet, he said, Raspberry Pi, hope the code is open source.
Actually, it's more than open source. The way that the Node-RED community works is that there's a big repository where all of that code from the amateur radio community sits. And IBM also features all kinds of, I think there's 1.5 million objects in their library that you can pull into the environment and really create some amazing dashboards to control your station. But where we're going with it is, not only do we want to be able to control it within HQ, we want to be able to take W1HQ fully remote. So you'll be able to come into our Flex, into our ICOM, into our Kenwood, and then use Node-RED into our Raspberry Pi network to control the rotators, the amplifiers, be able to check your power output, and a DX engineering antenna switch to control our antennas up on the roof. So yeah, it's open, it's available, and it's really exciting stuff.
And if you have any questions for David, now's your chance. Put them in the chat room here. We got K4 November Charlie United on from North Carolina, and our friend Mark Haynes, who is a frequent operator here at K3LR, M0DXR. He says, thank you for the ARRL DX contest. We all love them. So thanks to, I mean, it's a lot of work, all the operating events that the ARRL sponsors, David. You know, I can't imagine, but you've got good people up there. You've got good volunteers. So that is those operating events. I mean, the 10-meter contest last weekend was amazing. You know, guys are starting to feel the sunspots finally.
Yep. Well, one of the things that you're going to see from us coming up in March is I'm a big believer in creating logos and excitement around things. So we've created a Cycle 25 logo, and we're going to start branding all kinds of content, from articles to books to videos, on what Cycle 25 holds for all those relatively new technicians that think that 10 meters was some dead band that they got. Boy, oh boy, are they in for some shakeup when, you know, give it another 12 months, it's going to be pandemonium.
It's going to be great. And our friend Lee Moyle, who likes to come to Dayton to the Hamvention, is on. He said, good morning, Tim, from Victor Kilo 3 Golf Kilo, Wireless Institute of Australia, Vice President. So Lee is an active contester, but he's also very involved in the Wireless Institute of Australia. And Lee, looking forward to seeing you at the next Hamvention. And Whiskey 4 Fox Whiskey Papa, who is an ARRL Life member, And we've got Lima Uniform 2 Hotel Hotel Oscar Queen from Argentina on. And Harry W3YJ says, thank you. We need to get away from expensive proprietary closed code. So I think David has that message loud and clear, and he's doing great. November Mike 5 Mike Eric is on. All hams should support the ARRL. So David, what do you think of Connecticut? How's Connecticut for you?
I love Connecticut. You know, I've had a slightly nomadic lifestyle through my life, but all of it's been in the Northeast. So I've lived in New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania. I went to Ohio State. I lived up in Ontario, Canada for 4 years. So Connecticut is just it's a new member of the family, but it's all sort of up here in the Northeast. So that's really fabulous.
Great. Wait, there's a question here from Mike. He said, what is going on with the $0 fee or the proposed fee from the FCC? Do you have any updates on that, David?
No, all the comments have been filed and we're waiting to see what the FCC does. You know, there's a little bit of confusion around, there's folks that think this is the FCC that's going to get amateur radio finally. It really had nothing to do with the FCC. It had to do with a mandate that came down from Congress, that directed all of the different agencies to figure out how to issue fees that would cover their operating expenses. And the FCC has some discretion with regard to how they allocate those. And I think they probably thought, thumbnail kind of thing, $50 sounds right for hams. There are some folks that think that fighting the $50, the quote unquote $5 a year tax on ham radio is a wasted effort. But the way that we look at it is, when you look at the hundreds of thousands of hours that amateur radio operators put into public service every year, we represent more than a service. We literally are the people that show up when the lights go out, and that brings real value to the citizens of our country. And we just don't think that it's unreasonable when you're bidding away a band for 5G and getting, a few $1 billion for it. Yeah, maybe you'll give the amateur radio guys a wave on the $50, So that's really where we came out on that, and we'll see how the FCC goes with that.
Great. That is a good update, David. Thanks very much. And let's hope the $50 fee doesn't happen. We've got Scott Jones, who is N3RA. He's also the DX Engineering Sales Manager. He's been a life member since 1980. And thanks for all the ARRL does, and congrats on your new exciting role. He is curious about future plans for Logbook of the World and any new operating events that you can talk about, like the grid chase, etc., David.
Well, let me do the second one first. Really what we've been looking at with regard to operating events, and Tim, you and I had talked about this with regards to ARRL DX. We're really looking at not rule changes, but accommodations like we did with Field Day. We're still dealing with COVID. So we're really focused on taking our banner operating events and figuring out ways to continue to make them relevant for participants so that they can enjoy it, during these times. LOTW. So I hope I'm not talking. Am I allowed to talk out of school? Am I going to get in trouble?
Well, you're the boss.
Yeah. Oh, sure. So we have something that we're calling Project X, and Project X is a complete redesign of what is now called LOTW on the front end, and in the back end is our awards processing system. And what we're looking at doing is completely re-engineering the way that the software is architected, and then taking the entire application system and putting it in the cloud. So have there been design decisions taken? No, but I think that fundamentally some of the things that I would like to see is, I would like to see us migrate the TQSL functionality into a web browser, so that you don't need an extra piece of software to upload your QSLs. We want be able to add functionality like dashboards. So as opposed to just straight numbers and a chart, you can dashboard things. And there's some advanced functionality that we'd like to be able to add. One of my favorites is the ability to identify within the system states or countries that you're looking for, and then tapping into the spotting network. And if a country you're looking for, Mount Athos is on 20 meters, you can get a text message from the system that says, run to your nearest radio and work Mount Athos, something along those lines. So we're really excited about it. It's probably going to be a multi-year project. But it's really a reimagining of everything that we think that system can be for its users.
That's great, David. That's a tremendous update. And we also have Yankee Victor 5 Hotel Victor on from Venezuela. And Jim, November 7 Radio Charlie Sierra says, do you foresee any significant spectrum issues that the ARRL might have to address?
I think that the 3 gigahertz spectrum battle that we just went through sends a really strong message to radio amateurs, which is our spectrum is constantly being looked at by other industries, other users. And the expression lose it or use it is absolutely relevant. Now, a lot of the spectrum that folks have been looking at is up in the gigahertz area because they're looking at closer in. But I actually read some kind of a crazy article where somebody applied 7 megahertz RF to plants and they grew faster. And I was like, oh no, we're going to have farmers attacking 40 meters now, So I don't think there's necessarily anything from a spectrum perspective. I will tell you that one of the things that we are concerned about is the wireless power transfer. We know that it generates noise. I would say it's a political hot potato right now, but I will say that supporting ARRL is the right approach to getting involved to help ward off those things that can injure or reduce amateur radio.
Yeah, that's very important because you have staff and other outside consultants watching this all the time, and so the ARRL is getting good feedback. Bob asked, anyone already using the Raspberry Pi 400 or 4B as an integrated part of their station? So we'd like to know about that. And then from George, that's N3GJ. George says, love the 10-meter band. 73 Tim and David from George, N3GJ, ARRL member since 1983. George is one of the tenured operators up here at K3LR. He does 10 meters. I met him at a code copying contest years ago, and he beat me and he beat N3RA, and we said, we got to go talk to this guy. But George is the kind of guy that he operates 48 hours, on 10 meters during the multi-multis. Whether he works 15 guys or 3,000 guys, he's happy. And what a great team member. And so George, great to hear from you from the Pittsburgh area. We have Papa Yankee 2 Bravo November on. Our friend Luke, Lima Uniform 1 Fox Alpha Mike is on from Argentina. Another great contester. I know you know that call sign.
Yep.
David.
Lucas is great.
Yep. And then Papa Echo 2 Kilo says LOTW works nice, but QSL by the Bureau works a lot greater. I like that more. A real QSL card in my hands. So that's great. And Dino says, what is the status of the move to give technicians additional privileges?
That's a great question. I don't know the answer to that. I know that it's something that we have certainly kicked around. And there are strong opinions on both sides of the equation. In terms of the by the additional privileges, I guess we're talking the HF phone privileges
and some digital as well.
And right, you know, the I look at it as, you know, I came up through ham radio with my novice license. I look at what techs get today and go, what's the problem? get on CW. But you know, one of the things that is there is the ability to upgrade, you know, from tech to general. There's a lot of folks that do it. When I look at our member database and look at the people that are passing their tests within our VEC, there are a lot of technicians that are upgrading to generals. So so that desire to upgrade to get the additional privileges is something that inspires people to, you know, sort of reach higher.
So Herm says he likes Logbook of the World, but it's too hard to change the calls to a vanity call sign and download the complete log file. So there are, and I think you outlined that, David. Your goal and your initiative is to streamline this thing and make it more user friendly.
Absolutely.
You know, and so K9PG says 5NN.
Oh boy, here we go.
Well, now here goes the chat room, and then
yeah, there it goes.
Seemed like
when Paul calls me on the air, he never calls me by my call sign. I'll just hear Alpha, 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 and I'll say K9PG, you're 5'9".
Yeah, that's Paul. And Herm says, seems like too many amateur radio operators don't QSL. You know, I think that has been a problem since day one. Some do, some don't. I know when I get one in the mail, I'm sending one out right away. Brett says, do you have any plans to help encourage young people to get into the hobby? That's Kilo Delta 2 Juliet Victor Lima.
Brett has been reading my strategy for the league, and that's not nice, Brett, that you bring it up here. No, I'm only kidding. So as a part of our learning center, we've recently gone into a contract relationship with someone who is a well-known YouTuber who happens to also be an educator. He's going to bring the educational skills into our learning center, but he also teaches kids on a daily basis. And one of the elective courses that he teaches his kids is amateur radio. So he gets a lot of kids licensed, and we want him also to partner. There's a great guy with regard to youth and radio, Sterling, N0SSC. He's the youth coordinator for the IARU second region. And he's somebody who early on I exchanged some emails with and said, sort of stay tuned, I'll be coming back to you. And so with the addition of this educator and sort of video designer in terms of helping us create content, we're going to do this outreach to other folks that work with youth to really build a strong program. Another thing that we've done is we have a project. We have a couple of members. I think they're in college now. I'm sure they're in college because they both have received. Tim, you're on the board of our foundation, which awards student scholarships, and both of this brother and sister pair receive scholarships from the foundation. We're doing a project where we're going to have, rather than a code oscillator, which I think generations of people have built, Bob NQ1R has worked out a project with these two young folks to build these FM receivers. And Bob's calling it the ARRL Intro to Radio kit. So it's not amateur radio per se. It's trying to teach the fundamentals of radio. And then basically you'll get a group of students that'll build these small kits that'll allow them to receive between sort of the FM radio and aviation bands. And then each classroom can have an little FM transmitter. There's ones are available from the big box guys. There's one that you can build with a $5 Raspberry Pi Zero. And in any event, these guys will be able to put an MP3 file up there, play music, and the kids can go through and test the receivers that they built. So yes, we're absolutely passionate about getting more youth into radio. We have a fantastic collegiate club program. There's a lot of colleges and universities that have got very active amateur radio programs, and of course the scholarship program that we offer gives high school seniors and college students the opportunity to sort of reach out and inspire them to go a little bit further with the hobby.
So we're on here today with David, NA2AA, who is the new CEO at the ARRL, and we got time for just one more question. And WD8NVN says, are there any plans to improve ARES and the national traffic system?
So during this last year, which was very challenging for our board because of COVID, it made getting together difficult, holding meetings difficult, but you can imagine how difficult it was to go through and recruit a CEO and recruit a director in charge of our MCOM. And so we have Paul Gilbert, who has been a section manager in his life. He's very wired into all of the different governmental agencies. He's very big into MCOM, and a lot of the things that you would expect to see with improvement in ARES, will be coming through him. And again, going back to the learning network, our learning center, Paul is working with Chris, who heads the learning center, to be able to build content that folks in that community will be able to leverage. And we've looked at even trying to network with some of the governmental agencies that offer certification, and perhaps we can do certification training through the Learning Center.
That's great. Yeah, there's a lot of irons that I know you're working on, and a lot of projects, and you got to get ready for your board meeting in January. That's going to be an exciting one, your first board meeting. So we want to say hello to everybody that checked in with us today. We've got Kilo Lima 4 Sierra X-Ray and 2 Echo 0 Radio Echo Echo, and Kilo Golf 9 Zulu, another one of the DX engineering team. And so we want to thank everybody for your great questions today and for viewing. We have one more show this year. And David, it's going to be a great show. It's going to be on Tuesday, but our Thursday and Friday shows are going to go on a holiday vacation. But on Tuesday, we are going to have on principals from the Dayton Hamvention, from the Huntsville Hamfest, and from Hamcation. So we're going to have a load of people here on YouTube and Facebook Live. It's going to be pretty incredible. We're going to talk about what's going on in 2021 and what they think the chances are of having some of these events and what the planning looks like. And so, David, if you have a spare moment on Tuesday afternoon, you might want to tune into that. And of course, we record all these things, so you can always play them back later. David, thanks very much for coming on today. This was great. We got to do this again.
Sounds good to me.
Every so often, and stay up to date, because there's a lot of things that I think are going to move forward. And on behalf of K3LR, thank you so much for being there and for everything you're going to do.
Thanks so much. And I just want to say to everybody, we've really turned the energy up to 10 here in Newington. If you're not a member, we'd encourage you to check us out. There's an awful lot of good stuff that you can get involved with and have access to through ARRL. And despite everything that's going on, we're really expecting a huge 2021 for our members.
All right. Well, let's make that happen. And David, if there's anything that I can do or DX Engineering can do, you know, you've got my cell phone number, so make it happen, man. All right.
Sounds great.
All right. Hey, have a great holiday. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. And David, we will be in touch very soon. And
Great.
73 from the ARRL and DX Engineering. We'll see you on Tuesday at 1:15 p.m. Eastern Time.